10 days before Thanksgiving, I heard my loving daughter planning to humiliate me in front of all the guests, declare me insane, and kick me out of my own home. Betrayal by blood is the worst wound. I silently changed my plans, turning her trap into my own. On November 27th, she called, "Mom, where are you?" "The guests are waiting," I laughed. "Look in my drawer." What she found made her scream, and her whole world fell apart. Justice is sweet when revenge is cold as calculation. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. The doctor's appointment ended 40 minutes early. I pulled into my driveway at 3:15 instead of 5, cutting the engine and sitting there a moment in the November heat. Scottsdale in autumn, still pushing 85 degrees, the sun bleaching everything pale. My knees ached from the drive. 68 years of living leaves its marks. I grabbed my keys and entered through the side door, the one that opens into the laundry room, quieter than the front. My shoes came off by habit. Hannah hated when I tracked dust through the house. Her house now, apparently, though I didn't know that yet. Voices drifted down from upstairs, my office. Hannah's laugh first, that particular sound she makes when she's pleased with herself, then David's deeper rumble. Words I couldn't quite catch. I paused at the bottom of the staircase, hand finding the railing. Oak solid. I'd refinished it myself 15 years back. Hannah's voice came clearer now. Dr. Matthew Phillips signed everything. The assessment confirms progressive dementia. By Thanksgiving, we'll have the guardianship hearing scheduled. My hand tightened on the wood. David's response carried through the quiet house. And the house transferred documents. Once she's declared incompetent, you'll have full control. $680,000. We can finally pay off my debts and start fresh. The blood drained from my face. I felt it happen. That cold wash moving down through my chest. Hannah, again, casual as discussing the weather. The old woman doesn't suspect a thing. She still thinks I'm her devoted daughter. 2 more weeks and this house is ours. I stood frozen. An engineer's mind is trained to process information systematically. Load calculations, stress points, structural integrity. My brain applied those same principles now. They were planning to strip me of everything. The house I'd bought with my late husband, the independence I'd guarded fiercely through 2 years of widowhood. My dignity. Footsteps crossed the office floor above. I moved backward, silent, each step measured, back through the laundry room, out the side door, into the garage. I sat in my car with the door closed and stared at the steering wheel until my breathing normalized. 20 minutes, maybe? Could have been an hour. When I finally went inside, they were in the kitchen. Hannah looked up, smiling. That smile I'd trusted for 38 years. "Mom, how is the doctor?" I manufactured a smile in return. "Fine, just routine checkup." "How was work today, sweetheart?" She turned back to the cutting board, chopping vegetables. "Oh, same old boring insurance claims." "Hey, you're still planning to host Thanksgiving here, right?" "I've invited some friends." I nodded, said nothing, sat down at the table. David glanced at me, something flickering behind his eyes. Suspicion? Guilt. I chewed slowly, watching them both, forcing myself to swallow. That night I waited. Their bedroom door closed at 10:30. I listened to the house settle, the familiar creaks and whispers of a structure I knew intimately. At midnight, I dressed in dark clothes, old habit from my Navy years, and moved through the kitchen to the trash bins outside. 3 bags. I went through each one methodical. Coffee grounds, vegetable peels, junk mail. Then in the recycling bin, crumpled between pizza boxes, papers, legal papers. I smoothed them out under my small flashlight, hands shaking despite my efforts at control. Petition for emergency guardianship and conservatorship in the matter of Mary Jane Gray, an alleged incapacitated person. I sat on the cold garage floor holding this thing, reading my daughter's handwriting in the margins. One phrase circled in red ink. Subject demonstrates significant cognitive decline and poses danger to self. Lies. Clinical. Calculated lies. I don't know how long I sat there. Long enough for my legs to go numb. Long enough for the rage to crystallize into something colder, sharper, useful. At 2 a.m, I stood, folded the document carefully, placed it in my jacket pocket. Tomorrow I'd need answers. Tomorrow I'd need a plan. I walked toward the house, stopped at the door, looked back at my car. 8 days until Thanksgiving. 8 days until they planned to destroy me. My jaw tightened. I opened the door and stepped inside. Dawn light crept through the bedroom blinds, turning everything gray gold. I hadn't slept. Couldn't. The guardianship petition lay spread across my small desk like evidence at a crime scene, which I supposed it was. My engineer's mind had been working all night, analyzing, calculating, building solutions the way I'd once built bridges and office complexes. I pulled out a fresh notebook, began writing lists, assets, vulnerabilities, timeline. The house, my house, valued at $680,000. Hannah and David had lived here rent-free for 2 years. I did the math automatically. $2,000 monthly market rent times 24 months equals $48,000 they owed me. But they weren't planning to pay. They were planning to take everything. The safe in my closet held the real ammunition. I worked the combination, Michael's birthday still after 3 years of him being gone, and pulled out the documents. Deed to the house, in my name only. Bank statements, will. Everything Hannah and David had probably already copied during their 2 years of unrestricted access. They'd had time to prepare. That much was obvious. I spread it all out, cross-referencing the guardianship petition. They had medical records somehow obtained from Dr. Matthew Phillips, probably witness statements ready, legal documents prepared in advance. This wasn't impulsive. This was calculated, methodical, almost professional. My engineering background kicked in properly then. Every problem has a solution. Every structure has weak points. If they wanted the house, I'd remove the house from the equation. Simple. Sell it before the guardianship hearing could happen. I pulled out my laptop, searched Arizona guardianship proceedings timeline. The results loaded slowly. Rural internet, even in Scottsdale 2 to 3 weeks after filing, typically. They'd mentioned Thanksgiving as their target date. That gave me 8 days maximum, maybe less if they'd already filed and I just hadn't been served yet. 2 years, I muttered to the empty room. 2 years I gave them a home, and this is how they repay me. I paused, staring at the petition. Fine, they want to play legal games. I built structures for 40 years. I know about foundations and how to demolish them. At 8 Sour, I made my first call. Notary public office in Phoenix. The woman who answered sounded young, efficient. I requested an emergency appointment to verify property ownership and review my selling rights. She had an opening at 10:30. I photographed every page of the guardianship petition with my phone, uploaded them to an encrypted cloud folder Michael had helped me set up years ago. Then I crumpled the original exactly as I'd found it and returned it to the recycling bin. They couldn't know I'd discovered their plan. That was critical. On my notepad, I created a timeline. Today, November 18th to Thanksgiving, November 27th, 9 days. I subtracted 1 for safety margin. 8 days to sell a house. Insane. Probably impossible. But I'd done impossible before. Arizona property law loaded on my screen. I scanned through the sections. Legal language I'd learned to parse from decades of construction contracts. There. Clause 3321. Property owner retains full rights to sell until court officially declares incompetence. The guardianship petition wasn't a court order. It was just a petition. I was still in control. Legally, anyway. Hannah and David emerged from the guest bedroom at 9:00. I'd made coffee, positioned myself at the kitchen table with the newspaper spread before me, the picture of routine. Mom, you okay? You look tired. I glanced up at Hannah, let my face show appropriate fatigue. Doctor appointment yesterday tired me out. Nothing serious. You two have plans today. David watched me with narrowed eyes. You sure you're all right? You seem different. I manufactured a flat smile. Just thinking about Thanksgiving. Big family dinner. Should be memorable. They left for work at 9:30, David's truck rumbling down the driveway. I watched through the window until they turned the corner. Then I grabbed my documents and headed for Phoenix. The notary office occupied a strip mall between a nail salon and a tax preparation service. Rebecca Pierce met me in a small conference room, professional in a gray suit, maybe 50. She reviewed my deed with careful attention. Mrs. Gray, this deed shows you as sole owner. You have complete right to sell, but such a quick timeline. She looked up at me. May I ask why the urgency? I chose my words carefully. Let's say I've learned my living situation is about to change. I prefer to control that change. Her expression shifted, concern breaking through the professional mask. If someone is pressuring you, no one is pressuring me. My voice came out firmer than intended. I'm making a choice. Can you recommend a real estate attorney who works fast and keeps quiet? She studied me for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Pulled a business card from her desk drawer. Mark Jenkins, best realtor in Scottsdale for quick, discreet sales. Tell him I sent you. I took the card, felt its weight between my fingers, embossed lettering, quality. Back in my car, I sat in the parking lot, phone in hand. 8 days. I dialed the number. 1 ring, 2 rings. Jenkins Realty, this is Mark. I took a breath. Mr. Jenkins, I need to sell my house and I need it done before Thanksgiving. A pause. That's 9 days away. My voice was steel. I'm aware. Can you do it or not? Mark's voice still echoed in my head. I can have 3 serious buyers by tomorrow if the price is right. Tomorrow? The word tasted like possibility. I sat in the parking lot outside Rebecca Pierce's office building, staring at the business card she had given me. Estate attorney, her note had said. Someone who understands urgency. The dashboard clock showed 3:40. Hannah and David would not be home for 2 hours. Time enough. The office was small, second floor of a converted brownstone. Rebecca met me in the conference room, younger than I'd expected, maybe 40. Sharp eyes behind frameless glasses. I spread the photographed guardianship documents across her table. She read in silence, her expression darkening with each page. Finally, she looked up. Mrs. Gray, this document claims you have advanced dementia. Wander at night. Forget to eat. It's signed by a Dr. Matthew Phillips. Did you ever see this doctor? Never met him. The words came out harder than intended. But he signed papers saying I'm incompetent. How is that legal? It's not. It's fraud. She tapped the petition. But proving that takes time. Time they're not giving you. I leaned forward. What's my move? Legal move. Rebecca didn't hesitate. Sell everything today. Tomorrow at latest. Convert to liquid assets. Disappear the house from under them. It's yours. You have every right. She photographed each page, building her own file. Promised absolute confidentiality. Then she had me sign something. Limited power of attorney, she called it. Insurance policy if Hannah moved faster than expected if I became unavailable. The word hung in the air between us. How narrow is my window, I asked. She pulled up court filing records on her laptop, scrolled through recent submissions. No petition filed yet with the court system. They're probably waiting until after Thanksgiving to ambush you. She looked at me over the screen. That gives you maybe 10 days maximum. 10 days. Less than 2 weeks to dismantle a lifetime. I called Mark Jenkins from Rebecca's office. Put him on speaker. Mrs. Gray. His voice filled the small room. Good timing. I already have an interested investor from California. Cash buyer wants quick clothes. He'll pay full price. $680,000 for speed. Can you be ready? Rebecca nodded at me. You have it, I said. Send the papers. I'll sign today. Your daughter lives with you, correct? Does she need to sign? The deed has one name on it. Mine. She signs nothing. After the call, Rebecca handed me a folder. Everything you need. Sale authorization, new account numbers, my direct line. Keep this hidden. I took it. Felt its weight. Not just paper, power, my power. For 2 years, I'd been the confused old woman in their story. Now I was rewriting the ending. My next stop was a bank I'd never used before. Chase. 2 towns over in Mesa. Not my usual Wells Fargo where Hannah probably had contacts. The manager set up a new checking account, arranged for wire transfer of sale proceeds. I made sure Hannah's name appeared nowhere. When I pulled into my driveway at 5:15, everything looked normal. I parked in my usual spot, entered through the front door, called out, I'm home. The way I always did, hung my keys on the same hook. Hannah appeared from the kitchen. Mom, where were you this afternoon? I tried calling. I'd rehearsed this. Phone died. I was at the library, then drove around, thinking about Thanksgiving menu. You still want to do turkey here? Her shoulders relaxed. Of course. I've invited the Hendersons, the Morales family, maybe 10 people total. You don't mind, right? This house loves the crowd. Your father always said that. I paused. Let the memories sit between us. Let's make it a real celebration. She smiled, came over and hugged me. It will be, Mom. It really will be. I saw the lie in her eyes. Said nothing. That night I lay in bed hearing their muffled voices through the wall. Planning. Always planning. My phone vibrated. Text from Mark Jenkins. Inspection scheduled tomorrow, 10 a.m. Buyer's attorney drafting contracts. You'll need to be available to sign by noon. I typed back. I'll be there. Deleted the message. Deleted the entire text thread. Stared at the ceiling. Tomorrow the house went on the market. Tomorrow their whole plan crumbled, but they couldn't know. Not yet. Footsteps in the hallway. Hannah walking past my door, probably checking if my light was off. I closed my eyes, breathed steadily, regular. The footsteps paused outside my room, then continued. My eyes opened in the darkness. Character count, 5 to 36, including spaces. Part 4, playing blind. My alarm didn't wake me. I'd never slept. Every hour I'd checked my phone. Nothing from Mark, nothing from Rebecca, nothing to indicate problems. At 7, the shower started running in Hannah's bathroom. Normal morning routine. David's alarm clock buzzing through the wall. Everything ordinary, except today, strangers would walk through this house, inspecting what Hannah thought she'd inherit. I dressed carefully, button-down shirt, decent slacks, not too formal, not suspicious, just a woman with morning errands. I needed to be gone before 10 noon. In the kitchen, I made breakfast. Toast, eggs, coffee. Hannah came down at 7:30, already scrolling through her phone. Morning, sweetheart. Big plans today? She barely glanced up. Work until 3 SAR, then grocery shopping for Thanksgiving. You, errands in town. Maybe lunch with old colleague from the firm. I buttered my toast slowly. Thomas Bradley? You remember Thomas? We worked the Henderson Tower project together. Mm-hmm. She wasn't listening. At 9:40, I met Mark Jenkins at a coffee shop 3 blocks from the house. The inspector sat with him. Middle-aged guy with a clipboard, professional demeanor. I handed over my house key, reviewed the inspection checklist, signed preliminary agreements. Buyer loves the neighborhood, Mark said. Deal is solid. He's motivated. Good. I watched the inspector head toward his truck, toward my home. Keep it quiet, always do. By noon, I sat in Mark's office signing the final documents. Purchase agreement, disclosure forms, transfer authorization, closing statement, $680,000, close date, November 25th, day before Thanksgiving, wire transfer to my new Chase account. Mark looked at me across his desk. You're sure about this timing? Completely sure. Each signature felt like a strike against Hannah's plan. At Chase, the manager processed my wire transfer details, helped me open a safe deposit box. I moved my emergency cash from the old box at Wells Fargo, also deposited something I'd created last night. A fake will typed on my old typewriter, coffee-stained paper, deliberately shaky signature I'd practiced until it looked authentic. I leave my entire estate, including house and all assets, to my beloved daughter, Hannah, dated 3 years ago, placed prominently in my home safe where she'd find it. Let her think she'd already won. This is quite a large wire transfer, the manager said. $640,000 after fees. Are you sure you want it all in checking? We have investment options. Checking. I need immediate access, I met his eyes. And I need this account completely separate from my previous accounts. New statements to a P.O. box, not my home address. He nodded slowly, didn't ask why. I drove past my house at 2. The inspector's car sat in the driveway. Mark's vehicle beside it. I circled the block twice before parking down the street, waiting. They left at 2:30. I waited another 15 minutes, then headed home. Hannah was in my study when I walked in, going through my desk drawers. She jumped when she heard me. Oh, Mom, I didn't hear you come in. I was just, she gestured vaguely at the desk. These Thanksgiving invitations need stamps, and I thought you kept them here. I saw papers move slightly. Filing cabinet ajar. Stamps? No, honey. I keep those in the kitchen. 3rd drawer down. Always have. Don't you remember? Right, of course. Too quickly. Just forgot. I'll check there. I watched her closely. Were you looking for something else? You seem nervous. Fake laugh. No, just busy. So much to plan. Hey, are you okay with 10 guests? Maybe 12. However many you want, sweetheart. I kept my voice gentle. This is your celebration, too. She left quickly. I heard her in the kitchen rattling drawers for appearance. David came home at 6, found me reading the newspaper in the living room. Mary, where were you all day? Hannah said you were gone for hours. Errands, bank, lunch with Thomas Bradley. You remember Thomas from my engineering days? We talked about old projects. I turned the page casually. Boring stuff. Thomas Bradley, right? I saw him file the name away, planning to check, probably let him. Thomas was real enough, retired now, living in Tucson. We'd worked together 30 years ago. The lie had enough truth to hold. After they went to bed, I went to my safe, removed my real will, everything to charity. The way Michael and I had planned, replaced it with the fake, placed it where Hannah would see it immediately if she searched again, which she would. Late that evening, I heard her voice through the wall, on the phone, words carrying in the quiet house. Found her will in the safe, everything to me just like Dad promised, the house, the accounts, all of it. Pause. Laughter. No, she's clueless, still planning the turkey menu. I stood in the hallway listening. My phone vibrated. Text from Mark Jenkins. Closing confirmed. Wednesday at 2 p.m., buyer's funds already in escrow. This is happening. Wednesday at 2, the house became someone else's. Wednesday at 2, Hannah's plan died. But tonight she was celebrating her inevitable victory. I typed back, "See you Wednesday." Deleted it. Walked toward my room, past Hannah's door. Her voice again. By Friday, we'll have her declared incompetent. The attorney said it's a formality. My hand tightened on the doorknob. Friday. They were moving faster than I'd thought. I stepped into my room, closed the door silently. Tomorrow was Sunday. Monday, Thanksgiving prep. Tuesday, last-minute details. Wednesday. Wednesday changed everything. I hadn't turned on the lights. Moving through pre-dawn darkness like a ghost in what was no longer my home. 2 suitcases waited by my bedroom door. Clothes, documents, photos of Michael. The essentials of a woman who'd learned to travel light. The closing happened Wednesday. The wire transfer hit my account Thursday morning. $640,000. Clean, final, irreversible. Now came the hardest part. Walking away. I checked my watch. I've worried son Hannah and David wouldn't wake for another hour. Plenty of time. The suitcases felt lighter than expected as I carried them downstairs. I paused at the bottom, listening to the house settle around me. Every creak familiar. 40 years of memories in these walls. The banister Michael had wanted replaced. The hardwood floors we'd refinished together. The kitchen where Hannah took her first steps. I filed the memories away. Kept moving. My study waited in darkness. I opened the desk drawer, the one Hannah had searched twice this week, and placed an envelope inside. On it, written in clear black letters. "Hannah, read this." Inside the note I'd written by lamplight an hour earlier. "You wanted documents? Here's the only one that matters. Purchase agreement. November 24th, 2024. The house is no longer mine, which means it's not yours either. I hope your Thanksgiving plans work out exactly as you designed them. The mother you wanted to declare insane." I'd attached a copy of the sale contract, dated, signed, notarized. Before sealing the envelope, I photographed everything with my phone, insurance, evidence, proof of my state of mind at this moment. Calm, rational, deliberate. At 6:15, I loaded the suitcases into my trunk, started the engine, let it warm, looked back at the house one final time. Dark windows, silent walls, the porch light Hannah had forgotten to turn off last night. I backed out of the driveway, didn't look in the rearview mirror. Phoenix was still sleeping when I reached downtown. The Hilton Garden Inn desk clerk looked surprised to see anyone checking in at 7:30 on Thanksgiving morning. "That's unusual," she said, cheerful despite the early hour. "Family gathering later?" I managed a slight smile. "Something like that. Though I won't be attending, which is exactly the point." She looked confused, but maintained her professionalism. "Well, enjoy your stay, Mrs. Gray." How long will you be staying, ma'am? As long as it takes. I paid cash for 3 nights up front. The room was standard. Desk, chair, bed, window overlooking the city. I unpacked methodically, hung clothes in the closet, arranged medications on the bathroom counter, plugged in phone charger, set up a temporary command center on the desk, Rebecca's number on speed dial, bank statements in folder, list of next steps. At 9, I called Rebecca Pierce. It's done. I'm out. The note's in the desk. She'll find it when guests start arriving, and she wonders where I am. Mary, are you safe? Her voice carried concern. Do you need anything? I'm fine. Better than fine. I looked out at the Phoenix skyline. For the first time in 2 years, I'm in control of my own life. The morning crawled by. I sat by the window watching Thanksgiving traffic build. Families heading to dinners. People carrying pies and casserole dishes. Normal holiday rhythms. At noon, I stared at my phone, knowing what was coming. The call, the discovery, the explosion. Part of me wanted to turn it off, disappear completely. But no, I needed to hear it. Needed to hear the moment she realized everything she'd plotted for had vanished. My finger hovered over the power button, then pulled back. Let it ring. Let her panic. Let her understand what betrayal feels like from the other side. At 2:03, the phone lit up. Hannah Mobile. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Mom, where are you? False sweetness strain underneath. Guests are here. The Hendersons just arrived. Everyone's asking about you. I'm exactly where I need to be, Hannah. Away from you. Her voice rose, panic creeping in. What? Mom, this isn't funny. You promised you'd be here. We have turkey. We have I cut her off. Check my desk drawer. Top right. There's an envelope with your name on it. Read it. Then you'll understand exactly where things stand. Desk drawer? What are you? Background noise. David asking questions, guests murmuring. I held the phone away from my ear, listening to her footsteps. She was walking. I could tell by the rhythm of her breath, the background noise changing. Footsteps on hardwood. My study. I imagined her hand reaching for the drawer, pulling it open. The rustle of paper. She'd found the envelope. Mom, there's something here with my name. What is this? Her voice uncertain now, the false sweetness cracking. I closed my eyes. Open it, Hannah. Read every word. Silence. The sound of paper tearing. Then nothing. 5 seconds. 10, I counted them. At 15 seconds, I heard her breath catch. At 20, a sound that might be a gasp or a sob. At 25, her voice came back. Barely a whisper. No, no. This can't. Then louder, sharper. David, get in here now. I pulled the phone from my ear. Even at distance, I heard her screaming. I held the phone away from my ear. Even at distance, Hannah's voice shredded through the speaker. November 24th, she sold it. November 24th, while her words dissolved into incoherent sounds. I brought the phone back, spoke calmly into the chaos. Hannah, I can hear guests in the background. You might want to have this conversation privately. Her breathing ragged, desperate. You can't do this. You can't just then David's voice sharp. Give me the phone. Hannah, give me fumbling sounds. David came on the line. Mary aggressive, almost a shout. What the hell did you do? Hannah's talking about some sale. This is insane. I set the phone on speaker, positioned my iPad nearby, started voice memo recording, capturing everything. What I did was protect my assets from thieves. The house sold Wednesday. Closed escrow. Money's in my account. It's over. Over? You think you can't, just I can. I did. And David, I'm recording this conversation, so choose your next words carefully. A pause, then barely controlled rage. You were manipulated. Someone took advantage of you. We can prove you weren't in your right mind. I almost laughed. Bitter sound, really? Because I have psychiatric evaluations from 3 separate doctors confirming perfect cognitive function dated last week. How many doctors do you have saying otherwise? Oh, right. One who never actually examined me. Dr. Phillips, wasn't it? Where are you right now? We need to handle this face-to-face like adults. Like adults? You mean like the man who planned to have me declared insane? Or like the man who forged medical documents? I'll pass on that conversation. His voice dropped, threatening. You're making enemies, old woman. Dangerous enemies. I already had enemies. I just didn't know they lived in my house. I ended the call, stopped the recording, saved it to cloud storage, encrypted folder, then blocked both their numbers, but not before screenshotting contact info. Call logs, previous texts, evidence trail for Rebecca. I poured water from the minibar, hands steady, sat by the window overlooking Phoenix, watched Thanksgiving afternoon traffic, processed what had just happened. No regret, only grim satisfaction. I texted Rebecca. They no reaction as predicted. Hannah hysterical. David threatening. Recorded everything. What's next? Her response came fast. Stay where you are. Don't engage further. I'll handle any legal moves they make. 2 hours passed. I organized files on my laptop, began documenting the timeline. Every conversation, every meeting, every piece of evidence showing my competency, building a counter-narrative to whatever Hannah would claim. At 4 p.m., Rebecca called. Mary, Hannah just filed emergency petition. Claims you're mentally incompetent. Sale was fraudulent. She wants immediate injunction to reverse the transaction. I expected this. We're prepared. I opened my laptop, fingers moving across keys. What do we have? The psychiatric evals, the recordings, proof of her guardianship plot. Her voice was grim but confident. We have everything we need, but she's playing victim. Beautiful daughter trying to protect confused mother. Some judges respond to that narrative. Then we show them the truth. The guardianship petition she was planning to file. The fake medical records. The 2 years of free housing while plotting to steal everything. That's not a beautiful daughter. That's a con artist. Exactly what I plan to argue. But Mary, this gets uglier before it gets better. She's fighting for her survival now. People do desperate things when cornered. Let her try. I'm done being anyone's victim. The sun was setting when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. Hannah's voice completely different now. No tears, no hysteria, pure venom. You think you're clever. You think this is over. I'll prove you're incompetent. I'll prove you were manipulated. And when I do, everything reverts to your estate, which I control as your guardian. You just delayed the inevitable, old woman, and made it so much worse for yourself. See you in court, Hannah. You'll regret this. I promise you. I hung up, blocked the unknown number, but her words echoed in the quiet hotel room. Evening settled over Phoenix. I stood at the window watching city lights blink on. My phone lay silent on the desk, all hostile numbers blocked, but I knew they were out there planning. Hannah with her emergency petition. David with his threats. I opened my laptop, began writing the detailed account of the last 10 days. Every conversation, every document, every move they made, everything I countered. Rebecca needed ammunition for Monday. I typed steadily, methodically. 2 hours passed. At 9 p.m., an email arrived from Rebecca. Discovery documents attached. Hannah's petition claims you showed confusion, memory loss, and inability to handle finances for 6 months. She has witness statements from David and someone named Dr. Matthew Phillips. I read the lies, each one more brazen than the last. I replied that I have recordings proving the opposite, and evidence Dr. Phillips never examined me. I asked her to send me the strategy for Monday. I hit send and kept typing. Outside, Thanksgiving night wrapped around the city. Families finished dinners, watched football, and shared gratitude. I typed my truth into the darkness. The real battle started Monday, but tonight I built my arsenal. December brought gray skies and colder truths. I sat in my hotel room on a monthly rate, reviewing Rebecca's latest email. The Monday hearing had gone well. Judge Hayes denied Hannah's emergency petition and found no immediate evidence of incompetency. But Hannah was not done. She hired Marcus Webb, a lawyer known for aggressive tactics and questionable ethics. Rebecca's email set out their next move. They requested a full psychiatric evaluation, ordered by the court. They claimed my behavior, selling the house quickly and leaving on Thanksgiving, showed mental decline. Judge Hayes granted the evaluation. I was scheduled for January 15th, so December was all about getting ready. I hung out with 3 independent psychiatrists, had some cognitive tests, memory checks, and personality quizzes. They all said I was in tip-top shape, no dementia, and no problems with my thinking. My girl Rebecca even went and grabbed all that paperwork, making our little fortress even stronger. Meanwhile, Marcus Webb escalated. He filed a motion claiming I had stolen family heirlooms, Emily's jewelry, and requested a police investigation. Detective Carter called me on a Tuesday morning and said, "Mrs. Gray, we received a report about possible theft of valuable items from the family home." I met him at the station that afternoon and brought proof. Photos of Emily wearing the jewelry in the 1980s, wedding gifts I had purchased, insurance policies in my name, receipts showing $8,000 spent in 1985, and the will leaving those items to me. Carter reviewed everything and closed his notebook. He said, "Mrs. Gray, this is pretty comprehensive." I answered because she is desperate. The guardianship scam failed. The house is gone. Now she is trying criminal charges. It will not work. The case was closed within 48 hours. No theft occurred. January 15th arrived cold and clear. I appeared at Maricopa County Courthouse for the court-ordered psychiatric evaluation. Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the court-appointed expert, conducted a 6-hour assessment in a sterile examination room. She said, "Mrs. Gray, your daughter claims you sold your house impulsively without understanding the consequences. Walk me through your decision-making process." I answered with an engineer's precision. Nothing about it was impulsive. On November 17th, I discovered my daughter and son-in-law planning to have me declared incompetent using fraudulent medical documents. I verified my legal rights, consulted an attorney, and lawfully sold my property. That is not confusion. That is self-preservation. She said you recorded conversations without their knowledge. Some might call that paranoia. I said I call it evidence collection. When someone plots to strip you of your rights, documentation is not paranoia. It is necessary. Every recording I made is legal under Arizona's one-party consent law. She asked, "And you felt threatened enough to leave your home permanently?" I said I felt betrayed enough to remove their weapon. The house was their target. I eliminated it. January 22nd. Dr. Mitchell's report was filed with the court. I sat with Rebecca as she read aloud. Subject demonstrates superior cognitive function for age. Recent actions, selling property and relocating, show clear and rational planning. No evidence of dementia, confusion, or impairment. Subject's decision-making capacity fully intact. Rebecca looked up, smiling, and said, "Mary, this is complete vindication." "Judge Hayes will dismiss." I said, "Good. Then we file our countersuit. I want compensation for 2 years of rent plus damages for defamation, false police reports, and emotional distress." At the hearing, Judge Hayes said, "After reviewing Dr. Mitchell's comprehensive evaluation, the court finds no evidence of mental incompetency. Mrs. Gray's actions were rational responses to perceived threats. Petitioner's motion is denied. Case dismissed." In the hallway, Rebecca showed me Hannah's likely next move, a claim that I financially exploited myself. I laughed and said she does not know when to stop. I played the recording from November 17th. Hannah's voice said the old woman does not suspect a thing. Rebecca said that is conspiracy to commit fraud. "We can file a criminal referral." I said do it. Outside in the January cold, my phone buzzed. Officer Linda Martinez from Phoenix PD said we received a report that you have been making threatening calls to Hannah Thompson. "Please come to the station." I said, "Officer, I have not contacted Hannah since Thanksgiving. I can prove it with phone records and witnesses." I texted Rebecca. She replied, "Do not go alone. I will meet you there in 30 minutes. At the station, Officer Martinez said Hannah claims you called her 17 times and left threats. Rebecca handed over my ATT records. 0 calls or texts to Hannah or David since November 27th. Martinez compared the dates and said, "These records show 0 contact." She then told me I was free to go. The investigation collapsed within hours. Hotel security and statements confirmed I stayed in Phoenix during the alleged calls. Martinez wrote complainant's allegations demonstrably false. No evidence of harassment. Recommend no charges. On February 9, Rebecca filed my countersuit. $50,000 for defamation and emotional distress, $48,000 for 2 years of unpaid rent, and a criminal referral for document forgery. David called me and said, "Mary, this will bankrupt us. Take $20,000 and end it." I said, 2 months ago you expected $680,000 from my house. Now you offer $20,000. No, I want justice. See you in court. On March 15th, Judge Sharon Morrison reviewed our evidence and ruled for me. Judgment for Mary Gray. Hannah Thompson and David Thompson are jointly and severally liable for $48,000 in unpaid rent and $50,000 for emotional distress. Total $98,000. The judge also referred the forgery to the district attorney. Afterward, Rebecca said they may file bankruptcy. I said I do not need the money. I needed them to lose. Outside, a cold March wind blew. A text arrived with a photo of their house and a for sale sign. The message said, "Lost our home. Lost everything. This is not over." I deleted it and said, "Let them threaten. They have nothing left to hurt me with. I am free. They're buried. That's enough." I started down the courthouse steps. Behind me, Rebecca called, "Where are you going?" I didn't turn back. To find a house in Sedona, somewhere peaceful, somewhere far from people who lie with smiles. I reached the bottom step and kept walking. The war was won. Time to build something new. April arrived with brutal clarity. I sat in my Sedona rental, modest one-bedroom, mountain views, a temporary shelter while I searched for a permanent home, reading the bankruptcy filing Rebecca had forwarded. Hannah and David, Chapter 7. Total liabilities, $340,000. Assets, virtually nothing. The $98,000 judgment I'd won sat at the top of their debt pile like a crown on ruins. Rebecca's email read, "They'll discharge most of it. You might recover 10 cents on the dollar, maybe less. Want to object to the filing?" I typed back, "No, let them drown." The money had never been the point. Mid-April brought another update from Rebecca. Hannah's employer, the insurance company, had terminated her. The court records were public now, and company policy barred employees involved in fraud investigations, even civil cases. Hannah filed for unemployment, denied, termination for cause. In early May, David's consulting business collapsed. Clients found his court history in a public records search and canceled contracts. His LinkedIn profile changed to Seeking Opportunities, code for unemployed. Rebecca's investigator reported they were 3 months behind on apartment rent. Late May, I received my first payment from the bankruptcy trustee, 3/47/18, partial liquidation of their remaining assets. The memo line read, "Gray v. Thompson, partial distribution." I framed it and hung it in my apartment. Not for the money, for the proof. June brought divorce papers. Rebecca forwarded an email from Hannah's lawyer. Relationship destroyed by financial stress and mutual recrimination. Hannah claimed David pressured her into the guardianship scheme. David claimed Hannah planned the entire thing. "What do you think?" Rebecca asked on the phone. "I think they're both liars, blaming each other for getting caught." Mid-July, the final bankruptcy discharge was granted. My judgment, 96% uncollectible. Total recovered, $3,800 from asset liquidation. Rebecca's voice carried resignation. "That's all you'll see. They have nothing left." "Perfect," I said. That was always the goal. Leave them with nothing. I created a folder on my laptop labeled Consequences. I saved every document Rebecca sent: termination letter, bankruptcy filing, divorce petition, payment receipts, not from vindictiveness, but from an engineer's need to document the complete structural collapse I'd engineered. In early May, during errands in Phoenix, I drove past their apartment complex. I saw the old Honda. David's truck was gone, probably repossessed. A for rent sign hung in their window. They'd been evicted. I felt nothing. Late June brought an envelope forwarded from my Phoenix hotel. Hannah's handwriting. A handwritten letter, tear-stained pages, begging forgiveness. She claimed David manipulated her. Asked if I could help with rent. I read it once, fed it into my shredder, and watched the strips fall. I started house hunting seriously in July. I toured 5 properties, small, efficient homes. No room for guests. No space for people who claimed to be family but acted like predators. Each time a bankruptcy payment arrived, 3 in total, April, May, and July, I donated the same amount to an elder abuse prevention charity. $347 became $350. $892 became $900, turning their debt into protection for someone else. Rebecca called mid-July with an update. David's attorney claims your vindictive lawsuit destroyed their lives. He says you could have accepted the $20,000 settlement. Implies you're the villain, I replied by email. Vindictive? I use the legal system exactly as designed to remedy fraud. They destroyed their own lives the moment they forged a doctor's signature. I merely ensured there were consequences. Late June, Hannah left a voicemail. I listened but didn't respond. Mom, it's me. I know you don't want to talk, but we're being evicted. David left, took what little money we had. I don't know what to do. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. If you could loan a few thousand to get me back on my feet. I'm your daughter. Please. The message ended in sobs. I deleted it. You stopped being my daughter when you called me the old woman and plotted to cage me. Actions have consequences. You taught me that. Rebecca's final update came in July. Bankruptcy discharge final. Hannah kept her car, a 15-year-old Camry, the only exempt asset. David kept nothing. They were officially divorced. She moved to Tucson, working retail at Target. He moved in with his brother in California. Separate cities. Separate lives. Separate failures. You sound satisfied, Rebecca said. I sound finished, I said. There's a difference. A text arrived from an unknown number. Hannah, from a new phone. Mom, I see you're in Sedona. I looked up property records. Are you buying a house? After everything, you get a fresh start, and I'm in a studio, buried in debt that won't discharge. How is that fair? I read it twice, typed a response, stopped, deleted it, and blocked the number. Fair. She wanted to discuss fair. Fair was 40 years of providing. Fair was opening my home for 2 years. Fair was trusting my daughter. She gambled on my death or incapacity and lost. Now she could live with the consequences. That wasn't unfair. That was arithmetic. On a late July evening, I sat on my rental's small balcony and watched the sun paint Sedona's red rocks. My phone showed 3 blocked numbers. Hannah trying different phones. Each block felt like closing a door. Final. Permanent. On my laptop, a property listing glowed. A 2-bedroom in West Sedona. $320,000. Mountain views. Quarter-acre lot. Small. Manageable. Mine. The realtor's email waited. Owner accepted your offer. Escrow opens tomorrow. Congratulations on your new home. My finger hovered over reply. Tomorrow, paperwork. Tomorrow, a new foundation. Tonight, I would sit in the space between destruction and creation. The phone buzzed again. Another blocked attempt. I didn't look. The sun sank behind Thunder Mountain. Behind me, the laptop chimed. New email. Subject, Final Banker. Distribution, 14732. I smiled. They were sending me money they didn't have, paying debts they couldn't afford, drowning in consequences they built themselves. And I was buying a house in the mountains, alone, exactly as planned. The phone buzzed with a different pattern. Rebecca. I answered. Mary, I have news. The DA's office is moving forward. Criminal charges for the medical forgery. David's being indicted. Thought you should know. I looked at the darkening sky. Even now, consequences were still unfolding. August 28th, I stood in my new living room, empty except for boxes. Light streamed through the windows and threw red rock color across bare walls. 2 days since closing. 2 days of eating takeout, sleeping on an air mattress, unpacking the essentials of a life rebuilt from the foundation up. My phone sat on the sill, finally silent. No blocked numbers that morning. No more of Hannah's attempts. Maybe she'd accepted the distance. Then it vibrated. I picked it up expecting Rebecca with final escrow papers. Instead, a notification from Wells Fargo. Wire received $2,400 from Hannah Thompson. Memo, final payment, sold car. Please forgive me. I stared at the screen and felt nothing. I transferred the money to Arizona Elder Abuse Prevention within minutes. A text followed from an unknown number. Hannah again. Another phone. Mom, I sent everything I have, $2,400. I sold my car. I'm taking the bus to work now. I just need you to know I'm sorry. Can we talk, please? I read it, didn't reply, took a screenshot, and sent it to Rebecca. Document this. Evidence of continued contact attempts. That afternoon, my furniture arrived. Simple pieces, solid construction, chosen for one person's comfort. I directed the movers, arranged my bedroom, set up a small office, and created a space that was entirely mine. No guest room, no accommodations for family. A sanctuary evening fell. I sat on the back deck watching the red rocks darken. Another text from Hannah. I see you read my message. Please, just one conversation. I'll drive to Sedona. I'm your daughter. My thumb hovered over block contact. I pressed it. Then I opened settings, blocked all unknown numbers, and made a whitelist. Rebecca, my doctor, utilities, contractors. Silence returned. I deleted Hannah's contact entirely. Name gone. Numbers gone, erased. The next morning, I called Rebecca. She sent $2,400, sold her car. Please forgive me in the memo. Rebecca's voice softened. Mary, that's a significant sacrifice. She's working retail and has no car now. Maybe she's genuinely sorry she got caught, I said. Genuinely sorry she lost. Not sorry she tried. I paused. I donated it to Elder Abuse Prevention. Let it protect someone else. You're sure? Last chance to build a bridge. I'm not in the bridge business anymore. I build walls now. Strong ones. The delivery guy tightened a bolt on my new couch. Nice place, he said. You retiring here? Family nearby? I smoothed the cushions. Retiring, yes. Family, no. He grinned. Solo living, freedom, right? No one telling you what to do. I managed a small smile. Exactly. No one taking what's mine either. At sunset, standing on my deck, I read Hannah's last text aloud. I'm your daughter. Present tense, as if that were still true. As if the forged medical documents, the planned guardianship, and 2 years of lies hadn't severed the tie. I deleted the contact for good. You were my daughter. Past tense. You chose to end that. I'm just honoring your choice. Rebecca called again that evening. Mary, David's indictment came through. 2 counts, forgery and attempted fraud. Trial likely next spring. Hannah might testify. Will you attend? No, I said. I don't need to see him in handcuffs. The system is handling it. I'm done watching them suffer. I'm not interested in their pain, only my peace. So this is really over, she said. You're closing the chapter. I closed it when I blocked her last number, I said. Now I'm living the epilogue. I unpacked methodically, clothes in the closet, dishes in the kitchen, photos of Michael on the mantel. No photos of Hannah. I had removed her from the narrative of my life, visually and emotionally. I set up my office with the desk facing the view, files organized, Rebecca on speed dial, legal documents in the fireproof safe. Maintain structure. Maintain control. Maintain victory. At dusk, I walked the property line, 1/4 acre of red rock and pinon. Silence. The weight lifted. For the first time in 5 years, a home felt truly safe. No plotters. No predators. No family pretending love while planning theft. One final symbolic act. I took the old Phoenix house key from my pocket and threw it into the canyon. It flashed once, then vanished in the brush. The last physical link to betrayal. Gone. My phone buzzed one final time. Hannah, yet another number. Mom, please. I have nothing. No car, no savings, no family. You're all I have left. One chance. I felt the old pull of instinct, a mother protecting a child. Then I remembered November 17th, her voice. The old woman doesn't suspect a thing. I remembered the forged forms. 2 years of lies. I did not block that number. I typed my first direct message to Hannah in 9 months. You have exactly what you built. So do I. The difference is that I built mine on truth. Goodbye, Hannah. I sent it, blocked the number, and turned off the phone. The sun slid behind Thunder Mountain. Stars pricked the dark. Somewhere in Tucson, Hannah was probably crying. Somewhere in California, David was probably meeting with his criminal attorney. I felt nothing, no satisfaction, no pity. They were strangers now. Expensive strangers who taught me hard lessons about trust and consequences, but strangers all the same. In the kitchen, boxes waited. In the bedroom, pictures needed hanging. In the office, files needed organizing. All of it was mine to handle, mine to build, mine to protect. No one to betray me. No one to plot against me. No one to call me the old woman while forging documents with my name. I walked inside, locked the door, armed the new system with codes only I knew, and stood in the center of my empty living room, listening to the silence. Perfect silence. Tomorrow I'd unpack more boxes. Next week I'd hike the Sedona trails. Next month maybe a woodworking class. The future stretched ahead. Mine to design, mine to build, mine to live. I began this story as a victim. I ended as an architect. They tried to bury me in paperwork and lies. Instead, I buried them in consequences and rose above the wreckage. The war is over. I won, not because I destroyed them, though I did, but because I built something they can never touch, a life without them. I turned off the lights. The house settled around me, safe, secure, silent, mine. If you liked this story, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions in the comments. To hear the next story, click the box on the left. Thank you for watching.